Let's pray. Father, I just thank you so much for today. Lord, I thank you for these folks that are here to listen to God's word. We are so grateful that we have your word to lead our lives. Lord, I pray that you would bless Jeff and that we would be just encouraged to glorify your word. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, amen, amen, amen. Hey, kids can head back to Children's Church at this time. And with that, to give a quick announcement, Miss Jessica had to leave. Miss Tony is the backup, and she said, I'll fill in. Jessica left about an hour ago to go see her mom. Her mom had a stroke recently. And so if you would be in prayer for Miss Jessica Vote's mom, boy, what a tough time, timing-wise, on Mother's Day. So they skedaddled over to Olathe or Overland Park. I can't remember which one. But thank you very much, Miss Tony, for filling in for her. But we still have a Children's Church today. And boy, am I ever happy to be here with you all today. I'm wearing one of my mom's favorite shirts, hence the outfit. But anyways, happy Mom's Day to all the moms out there. I hope it is a wonderful, wonderful time. We have flowers for all the ladies at the end of the service. There's going to be a bucket out there. If you're a lady, then you can have a flower. It's for all the ladies here. We got plenty of flowers. Hope you grab one of those on the way out. So today, we're going to pause for just a moment from our This Is Us series, and we're going to do a little bit of a Mother's Day thing through Love and Respect. We just had a Love and Respect church conference or marriage conference here at the church just a few weekends ago. And I'll be honest with you, in the ministry for the last, I think it's 18 years, I had it added up yesterday. 18 years, I've had my fair share of marriage conferences. I don't mean that we know it all or that we've done it all, don't need another one. It's just that I've done quite a few. My favorite one until this was The Art of Marriage. That's a really, really great one. But there's the 5 love languages, men are like waffle and women are like spaghetti, Song of Solomon. There's all these great ones, and I thought this was my favorite. This is my favorite one, kind of, boom, hands down. And it's called Love and Respect by Emerson and Eggerichs. And I wanted to share with you some little tidbits that hopefully will spark an interest in the church, because this fall, we're going to have some small groups that go through Love and Respect. So I'm going to do the girls' side today, and then on Father's Day, we'll do the guys' side. And if you like it, then I hope your response is, that was really good. I got to learn some things about me and about how to love my spouse or significant other, or those that are single, how I get to love that person in the future, and how I can have my mind and my heart prepared for that. And if you're going, Jeff, that was a little bit of a stinker this morning as you're walking out the church, that was Jeff's fault, because the material's really great. But I really look forward to sharing this with you. So if it kind of is a little bit of a stinker, then hey, that was all on me. So last Sunday we began it. If you got your Bible, hold it up. Even if it's a mobile device, you can hold up your Bible. They're doing it up in the sound room. Hold your Bible up. Are you ready for it? Here we go. Repeat after me. This is God's holy word.
This is God's holy word.
I will read it.
I will read it.
I will learn it.
I will learn it.
And I will live it.
And I will live it.
One more time. This is God's holy word.
This is God's holy word.
I will read it.
I will read it.
I will learn it.
I will learn it.
And I will live it.
And I will live it.
Thank you very much. And if you want to turn to Ephesians chapter 5, I don't have the verse there, so let me read it off to you. This is the centerpiece of the Love and Respect material. Got to put that in my pocket for a second so I can pull it out. Here we go. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33, it says this. After Paul talks about the roles and responsibilities and how the marriage reflects our relationship with God through Christ, this wonderful, wonderful passage. And he sums it up with this. Again, Ephesians 5:33, if you're looking for it. He says, to sum up, if I'm going to get to the brass tacks of things, this is it right here. Each one of you is to love his wife as himself, husbands, and the wife is to respect her husband. And so what he shares is instead of giving love and respect, when things go wrong, we respond in a different way. So let me just say it this way. Let me illustrate it. Because what is the issue when the issue is no longer the issue? So I have an illustration to share with you from Bethany and I recently. I need to put this PSA out there that whenever I share things about my family, most of the time I get permission from Bethany. This is definitely one of those moments that I got permission from Bethany before I shared the story. She gave the thumbs up, the green light. I said, okay, I'll use this one. But this is probably the most recent one for us. Sometimes I slide things in. I go, oh yeah, hope that was okay. But anyways, usually I make sure that I get permission from her if it is something that could be questionable about shading her, not in the greatest of colors or whatever, you get the gist. Anyway, so this is the story. For the last couple months, Jeff has been looking for a home security system. I wanted a home security system because we live in Shadow Ridge, and we got these shady characters that live by us. Miss Billy Bell. We got, they're not here. They're skipping today, but we got Charles and Miss Carla that live over by us, and we said, we better get a home security system. So I've been looking every time we go to what is my Toys R Us of today, and it's called this magic place called Costco. I love Costco. We've been going to Costco and using this Costco card. We don't accumulate the debt on it. We pay it off every month, but each time we spend, you get whatever the reward system thing is. So we've been doing that, and we accumulated, this is just kind of sharing the story, $597.50 of rewards came back. And so all I heard was cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And the other thing I heard was home security system. And I thought, this is great. So we had the Love and Respect conference, and Jeff didn't learn a whole lot because I did something I shouldn't have done. I thought, I'm going to surprise Bethany with a home security system. So you see where this is going. What is the issue when the issue is no longer the issue? So it was a Thursday, I have the boys with me, and I went and got it, and we come home, and I thought, you know what, maybe this is something, now that I think about it, my wife might not go, honey, you are so outstanding. I am just so in awe of how you think of the family first and our protection and safety. You know, I thought there's a little bit of me that thought that's how she's going to respond. Not a big part, but anyways, there's a part that thought that. I was really not hedging any bets, but and then I thought, you know what? Maybe I should give her a heads up before she comes home and sees a security system here, and she sees the receipt, by the way, because anyway, so I sent her a text, and the text message said, just so you know, we now have a home security system, and it only cost us $7 because I used our reward certificate of $600. Her response in the text, and I wrote it down. Not the whole thing. I won't read the whole thing, but it began with this. It was separate little bubbles. This is the first bubble. Do we really need a security system? Next bubble, I'm going to skip over that one. Bubble number 3, and this is the beauty of it. She says, good thing we went to the Love and Respect retreat weekend last week. So it was pretty clear to me all of a sudden that I was in hot water. And so I did quickly try to say, and so when we do talk on the phone after she gets off her shift, and I'm sure this is just what she was really looking forward to. But anyways, she calls me up and we talk, and so I said, hey, for some reason, I don't know if that was serious or satire. Her response was, oh, you don't know, do you? So I kind of defended myself. It wasn't the wisest thing to do, but I just said, hey, I'm thinking of the family, this, blah, 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 blah. And so whatever, she shared some points, and then when she got home, and then she shared some more points, and then later on before bed, she shared some more points. It was clear. We weren't talking about a home security system anymore at that point. So what's the issue? issue when the issue is no longer the issue. And this is, again, I asked her for this, I could share this, and it was entirely my wrong doing. It was entirely on me, it was not on her. And this is what Emerson Eggerichs refers to as the crazy cycle. Because Jeff did not move with honoring her and sharing this information of the home security surprise. Instead, I did it without her knowledge. And doing it without her knowledge, she took that as not doing it in a loving manner. And so without love, then she reacted without respect. And then I thought, well, no, I'm trying to do this for the family. It's not a selfish thing. It's an important thing. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age, and on my little excuse goes. And so then I respond without love. And guess what? Whenever I respond without love, guess how she responded? A little bit without respect. And then she didn't respond with respect, so I responded. You see how the cycle just goes. And it's just perpetual. It just keeps going, and when someone feels like they have not been respected or they have not been loved, then they respond without that thing that the other person therefore desires. And what did Paul say when we looked at God's holy word? To sum it up, husbands, love your wives, wives, respect your husbands. And when we leave that out and when we withhold that from the other person, then we enter this crazy cycle, and it goes on and on. So that happened on Thursday. On Friday, I broached the subject again, and we both realized, you know what, we're not arguing about a home security system anymore. The issue was that Jeff did not give her the respect and love of talking to her in advance. And so this is what Emerson tells us to do instead. Instead of getting on a crazy cycle, we need to do the energizing cycle. That his love motivates her respect, and her respect motivates his love. And you see how that cycle continues to run on its own. And it responds because of intentionality. And so as we talked about it, and I realized how big of a boneheaded move it was on my part. There was groveling and on my knees and love and all these words. Just kidding, I didn't have to go that far. But anyways, we quickly realized, this was the heart of the issue. The issue was no longer about the security system, is that I withheld doing the loving thing with her instead. And again, the reason why we focus on this is one, it says in Ephesians 5:33, love, respect. But they also found out in research, this is again some of the things that is brought to us from Emerson from this Love and Respect conference. He said they asked 7,000 people the question, when you are in conflict with your spouse or significant other, he says, do you feel unloved at that moment, or do you feel disrespected? And get this, and if you have your notes, you can write this down. 83% of men said that they felt disrespected. That's just the natural tendency of a guy. And can I remind you, I want to say it's 1 Corinthians 7:28. I think that's it. I'll reference it here in a minute. But Paul is very clear. He says that those that desire to be married, that with marriage comes trouble. With marriage comes trouble. And it's this guy and this girl that have different expectations and different DNA in our heart and our makeup and in our genes, that we just have these different expectations and longings and ways in which we spell love to one another. So 83% of guys said, I feel disrespected. So 17% still said, oh, well, I feel unloved. But the flip side of that is 72% of women said, I feel unloved. Whenever these moments of conflict take place between me and my significant other or my spouse. 72% of women, 83% of men. And so what we see is there's this different makeup within us. And so today, hopefully what we can do is we can learn to spell love the way that God has shown us in His Word to the significant others in our lives. And today we're specifically going to look at, how do I show love to my wife? How do I express it? How do I share it? It's not spelled any longer L-O-V-E, but it's spelled with the acronym C-O-U-P-L-E, so the acronym couple. And the first one that we have is closeness, that she wants to be close to you. And can I just ask, guys, isn't that a good thing? You might want to respond with a little bit more hearty response because she desires closeness. Hey, one more time. Guys, isn't it great that she likes to be close to you? That's a lot better. There we go. Okay. She wants to be close to you. Listen to what Eve says, or what happens when God talking about Adam and Eve. This is why a man leaves his father and mother, and this is the Holman Christian Standard. He uses the word bonds. Most of us, maybe at your wedding, they said a man and woman shall cleave, and it means to adhere, to bond, to become one with his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And there's an issue that I have with closeness. For those of you that are like myself, you see this example of a couch. Oh, what? Yeah, oh wait, this is the right one. Sorry about that. I thought I had a different photo. Sorry. You see over here, there's Dave Dudley, and there's me, and you notice there's 3 cushions on there. And you notice how there's a cushion between me and Dave Dudley. Just making sure everybody's observing the same thing I'm observing. Over here, this is Bethany's baby brother, and then there's me in the middle. Again, cushion in between. And then the next brother just below Bethany, there's Caleb. At any rate, when guys go to the movie theater, when guys go to a couch, when they're sitting by somebody else, there's always a space. And I like my space. For whatever reason, Bethany and I, we get married, or we were dating, and then we get married and all that kind of stuff. And this is the way it would happen when I would get on a couch. I'd go pick my armrest. Nobody goes and sits in the middle. You're like a crazy person. You go get the armrest. You get your armrest, and that's your spot. You get your spot. But for some reason, this is me and Bethany. Now, it's not a photo of us, but this is an example. Every stinking time, I would go sit on the couch and she wants to be close with me. And I used to think, this is number 8 of 13 kids. She's just used to people being real close to her. And she would even say, oh, I just like being close to you. And I thought that was just an excuse. It's not an excuse. I just didn't get it. It was the strangest thing to me. So there's a nice newlywed or whatever it is photo, and a couple sitting on the couch. And she just always desires to be close with me. And so last night, it's the funniest thing. So, you know how I told a story about Bethany has this internal thermometer, or thermostat, whatever it is. She knows when it is not the set temperature in the house. And so I said, hey, can I put it from 74 to 73 tonight? Because I just want it to be a little bit cooler. I just want to get a good night's sleep, get ready for tomorrow. And I'll never forget, hey, can I put it from 74 to 70? Oh. She was not happy about that. But she said, all right, whatever. So I changed it to 73. And so we're laying in bed, and I think Emma was in the bed with us. She's over on one side. And next thing you know, Bethany comes over and scooches up real close to me. And I said, oh no, are you cold? That's really what I said. Oh no, are you cold? And I thought, I'm going to have to go change the thermostat. And her response, it was beautiful. I just like being close to you. She just likes being close. They like to be close. Genesis 29:34. At last my husband will become attached to me. This is Leah. She's desiring for Jacob to be close to her. And he didn't desire it back, unfortunately. And again, in chapter 30, verse 20, my husband will dwell with me. Song of Solomon 3:4. I had just passed him when I found the one I love. I held on to him and would not let him go. There's a closeness that she desires. She wants to be close. Letter C, closeness. Letter O is openness. She wants you to be open to her even when you're mad at her, by the way. Even when you're mad, she desires that this heart would be open, that would be sharing with her. And she desires an open-heartedness in that. But notice this. This is what Emerson shares. He says, women confront. So when something happens, she doesn't like or appreciate the distancing or the silence. And so she will confront and she'll say, hey, I'm wanting to find out this. Will you open up to me? And she is confronting to connect. But notice this. This is what they found out from research. When a man is silent, it is perceived as hostility. I mean, guys in here, that whenever confrontation takes place, you just kind of close up. You don't get opened up. You get closed up and you get quiet. We just get silent for some reason. However, when a woman complains or criticizes, it's perceived as contempt. It's conceived as contempt. And then there's this difficulty back and forth as a guy doesn't want confrontation. Or if he does, I'm just going to say my piece and I'm going to be done with it. And then I'm going to close off. And it makes for this difficult dilemma. And that's part of that crazy cycle and that difficulty that we see. And so again, openness. She desires you to be open with her. Well, what biblical passages do we have with this? Colossians 3:19, husbands, love your wives, and do not be embittered against them. Open up to them. Love them. Show a willingness to listen and to open up your hearts. Judges 19:3, then her husband got up and went after her to speak kindly to her. She just wanted him to be honest and open with her. Proverbs 21:19. However, it is better to live in a desert land than with a vexing woman. Do not use that for ammunition, by the way. But it gets to a point where some guys get so closed off and so irritated, so upset that they just distance themselves away. And that's a scary, difficult place to get to. And again, it just perpetuates that crazy cycle. So the letter O feeds right into the letter U, which is understanding. The letter U is understanding. And I don't know what it is about guys, but we just like to fix things. Don't treat her like a lawnmower, like a car, like the leaky roof, whatever it is. Don't try to fix her. Sometimes she just wants you to listen. Right, ladies? Mm-hmm. Ooh, that was an easy amen, guys. Sometimes she just wants you to listen. She just wants you to be empathetic or to sympathize with her. She just wants you to open up. Again, openness and understanding. Notice what it says in 1 Peter 3:7. Husbands, in the same way, live with your wives in an understanding of their weaker nature, yet showing them honor as co-heirs of the grace of life. And notice this part. How many times have our prayers been hindered because we're not being understanding to them, so that your prayers will not be hindered? Love your wife. Be understanding to them. Be willing to sit and listen and to hear her out. 1 Samuel 1:8 says, Hannah, why are you crying? Asked her husband Elkanah. Why won't you eat? Why are you troubled? And I've never used this line in my life with Bethany. Am I not better than 10 sons? Who wants to throw that one out there? Not me. Why are you crying? He's coming up and he's trying to open up and he's seeking to be understanding to her. Again, closeness, openness, understanding. The letter P is peacemaking. She wants you to say those two magic words, I'm sorry. And the only two words that have more magic than that is, you're right. Any ladies, there's some head shaking going on. Judges 19:3 says, her husband went after her, speaking tenderly to her to bring her back. Speaking tenderly. That she desires peace. The last thing that I think any couple is going to want, you know what? I just thought we should really have some ugly conflict going on today. Why don't we do that in front of the kids? It's never happened. She desires peacemaking. And again, kind of going back to that understanding. Excuse me. Oh, hey, did I miss one on understanding? I did. Because this is my favorite line. This is my favorite line from this one. In love and respect, women stay on point to be understood, and husbands stay in place to be understanding. Does that make sense? Okay, I don't know if it is. But anyway, I love that line. Stay on point to be understood. Don't watch out for the rabbit trails, but husbands stay in place. And as we do that, as she pursues this connection, as she pursues openness and understanding, is that she's pursuing peace with you. Notice it says, if you do get married, such people will have trouble in this life. 1 Corinthians 7:28, because there's just difficulty between a man and a woman. Mark 3:25 says, if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And the last thing we want to model before our kids is a lack of peace. It is constant conflict in front of them. And it's easy to fall into the blame game. Genesis 3:12 says, Adam responds to God. Oh, this is one of the biggest finger points of all time. The blame game. The woman that you gave to be with me, God, she gave me some fruit of the tree, and then I ate. So he's blaming two people. He's blaming God, and then he's blaming her. So, oh boy, I don't know how well that went later on whenever God gave them those different punishments that they got. Golly, that had been pretty ugly. But again, I don't think, if we were to ask everybody here, how many, on a survey, how many would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you desire peace? Are you wanting to pursue peace? Or are you wanting to pursue hostility? No, everybody would say, I do desire peace. But that's going to take intentionality. It's going to take intentionality. It's going to take those words like, I'm sorry. It's going to take the words like, you know what? You're right about that. Thank you. That was so helpful. It's going to take closeness, openness, understanding, peacemaking. Then let her know. Is loyalty. She needs to know that you're committed, that you are loyal to her and to her alone. Malachi 2:14, because she was your marriage partner and your wife by covenant. I made a commitment between me and her and through all the witnesses, but between us and God as well. Therefore, watch yourselves carefully, the key word carefully, and do not act treacherously. Don't go against the loyalty that you confess to her. Do not go against that, so be careful. Hebrews 13:4, marriage must be respected by all, and the marriage bed must be kept pure. I wrote this down, and I realized I actually had this wrong. The last person I wrote in a car with, that was a lady by herself. I wrote down Carol Hagan, because the last time that happened, where's Carol? Anyway, right there. A year or two ago, I rode with Miss Carol, and I said, hey, and I kind of turned toward her, and I said, you're the first lady I rode in a car alone with in a really long time, other than like sister-in-laws kind of thing. And I just kind of laughed about that. The other day I was going through this, and I thought, oh yeah, that's right. I had to show Miss Cassie downtown, so I took her downtown to see the City View Doors. They moved here, and she came on staff, and so Cassie is the last lady I've rode in a car alone with. I can count in one hand in this room. I've rode in a car alone with Miss Beth for something church related. I've rode in the car alone with Miss Carol and Miss Cassie. 3 ladies. I don't say that to say anything special, but just that I've made sure that I've set up boundaries. That I set up boundaries to say, honey, I'm loyal to you and to you alone. I'm not going to set up anything that could be perceived as something that's inappropriate. I'm going to make sure that I try not to ever counsel anybody without others here in the building. We got a window on my door for whenever I do counsel, that I try to just make sure that I'm committed and loyal to her and to her only, and that takes initiative. Job 31:1, I've made a covenant with my eyes, then how can I look? And the word look means to look lustfully. How can I look lustfully at a young woman? The Kansas City Royals have done something pretty amazing. I don't know if you've heard about this. Did you realize the Kansas City Royals, Dayton Moore, the GM of our Kansas City Royals, has a session every year that is anti-pornography? The Kansas City Royals. And what they do is they share the information. They talk about the chemical imbalances and struggles that have and the addictive personality that comes out of that from viewing and watching pornography. And they share it with every single one of their players, I believe, in spring break every single year now. Because they want to protect their players. They want to protect their families. And it's not a thing that they're just trying to hammer it down their throat. They're just trying to share the truth of what statistics and research have shared about the outcomes and what takes place when somebody gets addicted to pornography. The chemicals that go off inside. So I'd have this to say to all guys in this room: protect your eyes and your mind from pornography. That's what you're protecting. On the other side is you're protecting her heart. If you want a way to really stomp on your wife's heart and her feelings and her self-image, look at pornography. You want to break her heart and to rip her to shreds where she starts comparing herself to all these other gals or whatnot, start looking at that stuff. We were talking to somebody recently, and I said, I'm on 2 teams. Besides being on Team Jesus, I'm on 2 teams. And that's Team Bethany, and that's Team Engel. I don't want anybody else. I just got Bethany, and then I got 3 little kids. What's going to be passed down to my boys? What is the habits and the behaviors that I model that can be passed down to them if I get involved in some of this other stuff? How are they going to treat other girls in grade school and in junior high and high school and college upon how I treat their mother and other girls that I encounter? I think a lot of things, it's not just so much that they're taught, but it's that they're caught. And I hope to model that as best as possible for my kids. But it takes intentionality. Okay, so she needs to know that you're committed. Can I hear an amen for that?
Amen.
She wants to know you're committed. Last one is this. Wrong page. Esteem. Letter E. She wants you to honor and to cherish her. She wants you to honor and to cherish her. And that is absolutely what I failed to do the other day. Whenever I went and bought that without her, I didn't honor and esteem her. I thought it might be a nice surprise. Of course, that was in the back of my mind, but there's part of it in the back of my mind, I guess, that I just want to do it. I just want to get it over with. I don't know. But it did not honor and cherish my wife when I went and purchased that home security system. Notice what it says. 1 Peter 3:7. You husbands, grant her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life. Ephesians 5:29. For whoever hates his own flesh For no one ever hates his own flesh. I said that wrong. But provides and cares for it, just as Christ does for the church. Provides and cares, to esteem, to honor, to cherish. Proverbs 31:28. Her husband praises her. Oh, I love that. I hope to be that guy. The one that praises her, whether in private or in public, whatever the situation may be. So again, it is all summed up in this one verse, Ephesians 5:33. To sum up, each of you is to love his wife as himself, and the wife is to respect her husband. And here's the crazy thing. There's 3 words in the Greek when it talks about love. There is Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, phileo love, the brotherly like love that we have for one another. There is eros, which is the erotic love, the sexual love. But then there is this agape love, agapeo or agapeto. It is the love that is unconditional, that is sacrificial. This is the God love. This is what we see that God has for his son. We see in John 17:26, I made your name known to them. Jesus is saying this in a prayer as he's praying to God. I made your name known to them and will make it known. So the love you have loved me with, the love that God that you have loved me with, that is the agape, sacrificial, that the unconditional love may be in them and I may be in them. And then the most popular verse of the Bible. For God so loved, again, that's agape. For he so loved the world, that Jesus so loved us, that he was obedient. That Jesus so loved the world as well, that he gave his life. And that same word agape is the word that we have in Ephesians 5:33. To sum it up, every one of you husbands, it is our, not role, it is our responsibility. You could say it's your duty, it's your calling. It is what she deserves. Amen. She deserves your unconditional, sacrificial love to the extent that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to share the couch with her. Closeness. That I need to be willing to be open to her. That I'm going to be understanding. That I'm going to be a peacemaker. And that I don't wait for her to do that. I need to be the one to take the initiative on it. And that I'm going to be loyal and that I'm going to esteem her. Each and every one of those, it takes our action. And husbands, I hope that we lead with this. That we don't wait for her to respond. We don't wait for her to act, but that we would lead it. That we would lead it well. And so, boy, you know what? I think it would be a lot easier for our spouses to respect us if we started to lead in loving just like that. Would you go and bow your heads and close your eyes as the worship team comes up? I just want to ask you, husbands, there where you are, would you pray for yourself? Would you pray that you'd be the husband that God has called you to be? Would you pray and ask God to give you the wisdom as to whatever steps you might need to take if there's something that you need to apply today? Maybe this very moment. Wives, would you pray that for your husbands? And that you would respect him in that. That you would show him that love that he desires too. That you would follow your godly role as well. But that you would be a team in this. That you would model that together, loving and respecting each other with both of those. She deserves respect too, by the way. It is not just one thing. But that you would model that for your kids. That you would apply some of those principles. The closeness, the openness, the understanding, peacemaking, loving, esteeming, whatever it might be. What is it that you need to apply to your hearts, your minds, your lives, to your significant other today? And for those that are single, maybe some of you are kids and going, this is over my head, this does not apply to me. It absolutely does. Because one of these days, you hopefully will be standing in front of your friends and your loved ones, and you'll be pronouncing till death do us part in front of everyone, and hopefully your heart will be more ready because you applied some things today. That you allowed your heart to be moldable and makeable to who God wants you to be in the future to that spouse. But that you would honor and respect her this day, even if you don't know her, guys. And girls, that you might not know who that guy is, but that you'd still hold him special and dear in your heart, because one of these days you will be together with him. You will be together with her. May you not just desire to be that person when the day comes, but may you already be in the process of becoming that man or that woman that God desires you to be and your future spouse desires you to be as well. Father God, Lord, we just come, we say thank you so much We skipped over a big chunk of this passage in Ephesians 5, but Paul says that so clearly that there's moments of this where he's not talking about a husband and wife, but he's talking about Christ and the church. And he said that Christ so loved the church that he gave his life for her, for the church. And Lord, we just want to say thank you for that love. We hope all the husbands, all the wives in this room, that Lord, that we would cherish and make special and important our marriages. For those that aren't married yet, those that may be single, that God, that we would have willing and open hearts to follow however you may be leading us. But again, God, the pursuit is still the same. To be who you have called us to be, that we would lift up the name of Jesus in all that we would do, all that we would think, and all that we would say. May you be glorified in us and through us, Lord. Lord, our hope and our trust is in you. Help us to live it. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. On your bulletin, you have a little tearaway there at the bottom right of it. If there's something you would like to share, you can be anonymous.